In Luke 17:28-30, Jesus tells his disciples that the last days will be like the days of Lot. So what were those days like, and how do we compare with today? Let me give you 7 characteristics of those days. Number 1, there was an emphasis on the external, on looks. You know, when Abram and Lot separated, Abram graciously allowed Lot to choose where he would settle. Genesis 13 verse 10 says, Lot looked and saw the well-watered plain was like the garden of the Lord, and so he chose it based on how it looked. Just like in Noah's day, when the men chose their wives based on their external beauty. And yet, number 2, the moral climate of Sodom was one of wickedness. Genesis 13:13 says, but the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and sinful against the Lord. Despite this, Lot had his home right in the center of this wicked city. The days of Lot, number 3, were characterized by compromise, even amongst the righteous. When Sodom and Gomorrah were later destroyed, only Lot, his wife, and 2 daughters were allowed to flee the city, because only Lot was righteous amongst all the population. Lot should have stayed well clear of that filthy city, and yet he chose to move to its center and to be involved with the other men who gathered at the gateway. He compromised, he put at risk his safety and that of his family and the spiritual well-being by getting fully involved with the world and its ways. How relevant that is to where we find ourselves today, as we see churches trying to find favour with the world, compromising their long-held doctrines and beliefs and the commands of the Bible for the sake of fitting in or of not wishing to offend anyone. God will not contend forever with those churches and their leaders for such compromise with the world and its values. 2 angels came down to Sodom to see for themselves what was going on, and Lot invited them to stay with him. Number 4, sexual immorality and sexual perversion were rife. Genesis 19:4-5 tells us, all the men from every part of the city, both young and old, wanted homosexual sex with the angels, something that God regards as so grievous that as a result he destroyed the city and its inhabitants. Number 5, willing to sacrifice family for the sake of the culture. Lot was so infected by the culture, by all that was going on around him, that he doesn't hesitate to offer to prostitute his daughters so that they would spare the angels, to offer his daughters up to the world. In verse 14, when Lot warns his sons-in-law that the Lord is about to destroy the city, they laugh at him. We see here the undermining of the godly institution of the family. Just like today, there was no respect shown by the sons-in-law to the father Lot as the head of the family. No respect for godly authority. They laughed at him, and destruction was their end. Likewise, any society that undermines the family, as we are seeing today, will not escape judgment and is headed for destruction. Thank you.